sitting by the fence.
That's a good, maybe a good thing, maybe not, who knows, but good to connect with you, Raju. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Vaibhav.
Ajay?
Hi, Vaibhav. This is Ajay Gupta.
Hi, Ajay.
How should I describe? I have a 30 years experience, mostly in software, but now I work very deep in the telecom space. I look at the strategy within Ericsson, and I'm quite interested to learn how things will shape up, predominantly with blockchain, NFT, metaverse, Web3, because a lot of these technologies also interest me from my professional point of view, because all these 5G, 6G networks with low latency stuff are also coming up, where many of these applications could be in that space. So it just intrigues me how Web3 is going to develop, and the fact that blockchain is supposed to be very fundamental technology underneath. And I'm more we are learning about it, I'm also interested to see how the current internet economy, which is largely around, let's say, advertising and few other things, and obviously e-commerce, will shape up going forward, where what I learned a little bit is that creators will get their due share. So I'm quite interested in many of those aspects.
Understood. Good. Thank you for joining, Ajay.
Shifali? Sanya?
Hi, everyone. This is Sainya Roy. I'm Vice President Legal at Indian Angel Network. I've been a lawyer for close to 15 years now. And while my exposure to cryptocurrencies has been fairly limited, but I've been following the space for a while now. And what I'm interested in particularly is in understanding how the legal framework around crypto and metaverse is going to evolve across the next few years.
Good. Thanks for joining, and hopefully we can have a discussion on this, depending on how much time we have on.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Tejas? Okay. If we have missed out anybody, it's we'll take that up later. So over to you, Vaibhav.
Thank you. Thank you, Hari.
This is a special group of investors who are interested in blockchain and how to invest in blockchain. What is the legalities around that from an Indian perspective, and how we could invest in blockchain startups. So that's how we started this process of getting educated. So we brought in a lot of people who have actually done transactions either as investors or as intermediaries, and we tried to learn about this whole space. So you have to now give us the complete legal sort of side of it, so that we understand how to evaluate and also take it forward from an Indian perspective. Over to you, Vaibhav.
Thank you, Hari, for setting it up. Honestly, if you want to get into the legality, it will require 2-3 days. It can't be done in 30 minutes. which is because each area is a topic by itself. But I will try to kind of touch upon each different topics broadly and talk about it, and then maybe if there are Q&A, we can go in detail. And if there are still interest, then we can take it offline. We are having we are actually doing different sessions. So we are doing an event starting July 27th on what we call digital summer. So we are taking up different areas. So for example, on August 3rd, if I'm getting my date right, we are having one on metaverse. August 10th, we are having one on cryptocurrency and one on fintech, right? So we are having different areas which we are covering. So Hari, maybe after this event, I will send you the details. You can circulate in case anybody is interested. They can join those sessions, where each of this point will be discussed in detail, right? Right now, I'm going to just broadly touch upon it. Let me start by introducing myself, right? So I am Vaibhav Parikh. partner or leader, what we now call with Nishith Desai Associates. I joined 30 years ago and in 1992 with Nishith Desai when we were just about 3 people. And now, and we were just doing international tax, and now we are doing a lot of work across the different areas, but specifically in technology. One of the things which we typically do, we spend a lot of time doing research and education, and especially whenever there is a new technology, we pick it up and basically understand, try to learn the legal and tax aspects of this new technology, impact of this new technology, and then come up with the research papers and keep on following and try to create kind of expertise in each of these areas. We have done this for almost all major technologies, whether it was cloud computing or IoT or AI or 5G in terms of telecom. If you go to a website, you will find a research paper on each of these topics, including drones, driverless cars, etc. Very interestingly, we started doing same thing for cryptocurrency or Bitcoin at that point in time in 2013. That's when I first heard about Bitcoin. In fact, Nishith Desai, who is my founder partner, Nishith Desai's son, once came and told that he has been talking to a lot of people, and this Bitcoin seems to be very interesting and has good future. That's what his assessment was, and we had no idea what this Bitcoin was. So we started looking at it. We came up with a paper in 2014, early 2014, where we talked about the legality of Bitcoin in India. We looked at the Bitcoin. Is it a currency? Is it legal? What exactly is the character? And so on and so forth. And then in the same year, there were a few companies which were, startups which were in Bitcoin / cryptocurrency / blockchain space. At that time, it was very, very merged one. Particularly, there were cryptocurrency exchanges like Zeppay and Unocoin. And in 2014, one of the coins were raided by ED, and they were sealed. So they came to us, and this became a little more frequent to the industry. So the whole industry players came to us because they saw our paper on our website and say, hey, you understand what Bitcoin is. Can you please talk to Reserve Bank of India, and can you go and tell them that, what we are doing is not illegal? Because that's what we had said in our research paper. Nishith Desai at that point of time said, look, if I go to Reserve Bank of India, they will set up a committee. It will take 2-3 years before you see any result. So, why don't we do out of the box thinking? And he called for a press conference, and he put his name out, and he says, Bitcoins are not illegal per se, but people need to be cautious when they are investing since they are very risky. He made those statements, and he also released the paper to the press, kind of substantiating why, our view was that Bitcoins are not illegal per se. And this became a front page news headline in 2014. Maybe if you still Google, you may find it. But the implication of that was 5 days later, ED called us and told us, can you come and make a presentation on what is Bitcoin so that we also understand? And after our discussion with them, they stopped the raids amongst the industry. So it worked pretty well. Reserve Bank of India was very cautious, kept on sending cautionary notice. And then we started helping all the industry players in trying to build their own association, own regulations, because there were no regulations per se. But we said, look, if you want to really be, not being harassed by the regulatory authority and not be on the wrong side, you need to build your own rules and regulations, right? And make sure that you kind of comply with it. For example, we said, don't take cash, and none of the exchanges ever took cash as an input. I mean, most of the people who were on the well-known exchanges, let me put it this way, Secondly, we said that you should do KYC, even though there was no law which says you should, you do KYC. So any exchange, when you see it started since 2014, they would always do a basic KYC so that tomorrow there is always a name associated with the wallet, right? So even though Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies are anonymous, it can be traced only to the wallet. All Indian exchanges, whenever any Indian opened an account, there was always a name associated with the wallet, a person associated with the wallet. And a lot of time regulatory authorities, when they asked for information, exchanges could provide. And there have been several crimes which were committed and authorities could track down, even though they had used cryptocurrency as a mechanism for the payment. So it all worked fine till 2018 when Reserve Bank of India really saw that this was becoming a threat and virtually banned it. And the way they banned it was basically going and telling banks that you can't operate with cryptocurrency companies. Now, when you look at those that ban, and we actually fought Reserve Bank of India in Supreme Court, and in 2020 we actually won the case, which led to the revival of the cryptocurrency / Bitcoin / blockchain industry. And today it is very thriving industry. Though I would say that it is 90% cryptocurrency and 10% blockchain, but things are likely to change going in future. Now, having seen this industry for 9 years, right? And this is a question which a lot of people ask, is this industry real? Is this industry, should I invest in it? What is the risk here associated with investing in this industry and, especially in cryptocurrencies? I tell them, look, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a investor, right? I've not ever made investment in cryptocurrency. I know enough to know that cryptocurrency is here, but I don't know enough to know which cryptocurrency is here to stay. Sorry, give me a second. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know enough to know which cryptocurrency is here to say. Often I try to put cryptocurrency industry, right? Like the startup boom which happened in late 90s, where there were so many startups, right? And then when the burst happened, the whole industry disappeared, barring few, right? The only startups which really survived and are doing well are Amazon and Google, two classic examples. But they've done phenomenally well. I think to some extent this cryptocurrency today, at least what numbers I know, there are over 19,000 cryptocurrency coins. I think only few will survive. Whenever the coins, whenever there will be a rationalization, a lot of coins will get bust, whether it is what we saw recently for Luna or some of the other coins will simply fade away and may not really, even show any, it won't even come in media. Coins which will, cryptocurrencies which will survive really are the one, in my view, which will really have a great utility, right? Which will be used in the killer applications. Today, blockchain and cryptocurrency go hand in hand, but we have not seen killer applications coming from blockchain industry. There have been some applications, some interesting applications, some sticky applications. For example, NFTs here, picked up quite well. It does create, and as we were talking a little while ago, it allows creators to get their dues, to get paid. An NFT, in my mind, will be much more than just digitally signed painting or digitally signed, a piece of song, right? It will be much more functional going in future, and it will be much more than digital collector's items, right? But NFT is one of the good applications, right? And coins which are used in NFT will become, possibly popular or, will be here for stay. Similarly, DeFi is coming up. I see a lot of promise in DeFi. As of now, DeFi is just a broad things, and we are yet to see how the applications in DeFi come up, which really shows very good promise. Few of them are showing some promise, but DeFi will have little tough time because you will see oppositions of banks and governments. So it will be little tough for DeFi to come up and become a winner. But it will happen for sure. And at some point of time, you will see some applications which will possibly become a great option for blockchain and cryptocurrency. Again, applications that become killer application, the points used in that killer application will survive. Web 3.0 or metaverse is another killer application which will come in. Again, I would not say it's a blockchain application. It's a convergence of different technologies, and blockchain is one of the technologies which is going to be used, but it's going to be critical technology, and specifically the tokens which are going to be used, which will play a very important part in metaverse, will be another killer application, and coins and tokens which are going to be used are likely to survive. So the point what I'm trying to say is that out of 19,000 coins which are currently out, if you really look from long-term perspective, few will survive. Most will either fade out or die or go bust. But which one survives or which one will do well, whether any of the existing 19,001 or new ones which will come up, I don't know, which is why I don't invest in cryptocurrencies. But this is my thought process that there are very interesting possibilities, and it's very, very exciting to see how things work. Now, because of what I hear and see, and the promise which it has of blockchain and cryptocurrencies are so interlinked, I don't think it is going to be possible for any government who wants to encourage blockchain to actually ban it. Now, Indian government did try to ban it. Going back into the regulatory aspects of Indian government, RBI is very keen to ban it. They have come up in open to say we want to ban it. They have tried to ban it but did not succeed in Supreme Court. They are even right now, as we speak, they are trying to create as many hurdles as possible to discourage the cryptocurrency in working, including not really encouraging banks to work with cryptocurrency companies, right? So, it's been very difficult for cryptocurrency companies to actually get a bank account. So it's been a little tough. There are a lot of obstacles which they have to overcome in order for them to actually work. There have been a lot of ED notices which has been going to all the cryptocurrency companies, and a lot of questions are being asked. So RBI, in essence, has been trying to create as many obstacles as possible. And I can understand from Reserve Bank of India perspective too, because RBI is very worried that this will create a parallel economy, and it will, they basically their control over the monetary system will be at question, and as a result, they want to slow it down, and especially they want to slow it down till they come up with their own, CBDC, which they can show it as an alternative option for blockchain building. Again, my thinking is that it's not likely to be successful because any coin which is government sponsored is unlikely to be very successful, because one, it will be very difficult for people to adopt. Two, rupee specifically is not going to be global in nature. It's going to be India specific. And again, in blockchain industry, unless things are global in nature, it's going to be very difficult for people to adopt. So I don't know how successful CBDC will be, but I don't see. Again, it depends on what policies they come up with, but I have limited hope, or I'm not that optimistic. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm not that optimistic. But RBI, as I said, was against it. lot of other agencies are actually very neutral. Like SEBI is not really taken a stand one way or another. They are looking at it. Luckily, they don't need to worry, as they have not seen too many token issuances coming from India. In fact, there are almost zero, and there are reasons for it, and I will touch upon it, in a short while. Insurance regulatory agencies have been again neutral. For most of the agencies have been very neutral. The only one which has actually come forward and said that it can't be banned and it needs to be encouraged is Niti Aayog, which was a planning commission, and at least our experience says that they have shown very positive response. Now, because of different positions and not having a common consensus on different agencies, Indian government, and especially Ministry of Finance, has not taken a final view on what they want to do. They have actually drafted a law. They were ready to ban it. In fact, they had set up 3 different committees, including committee by Subhash Garg, and before that there was a committee. Later on there was a committee. Each committee made a kind of a report to the government. Almost all committees had RBI in it, and almost all committees said that we should ban it. Now, having said it, originally, in fact, this is something which came up in the Supreme Court case. Original committee's decision was to kind of regulate it, but then because of Reserve Bank of India pressure, they changed that recommendation and suggested to ban it. In spite of all the committee recommendation of banning it, Indian government has not taken any action. And in fact, by coming up with the tax at 30% on VDA, which is virtual digital assets, more or less government has reconciled, even though they have not explicitly said so. They have reconciled that it will not be banned. It is most likely to be discouraged. It is most likely to be kept in limbo till they come with a common idea of how to regulate. So, my view is that it's unlikely to be banned. In my view, no government will be able to ban it if they want to encourage blockchain. Even though they have banned it, for example, China has banned it, Russia has banned it. I think they're all temporary. At some point of time, the ban will be lifted. Otherwise, a lot of things which are likely to come, they will be left in. Now, having said it, other than virtual digital assets definition, which is again very wide. In fact, recently they had to come up with a clarification that they didn't intend to include loyalty points. Right? It is so wide. There are no other definitions of what is cryptocurrency, what is virtual, currency and stuff like that. Again, virtual currency, there is a RBI circular, but again, it's similar to virtual digital assets, which is very wide. Even Supreme Court has, in their judgment, said that it's very difficult to characterize cryptocurrency, right? In a sense that it has different roles and it can take different characters. So it's, you can't really characterize, they used a Sanskrit phrase for it also. Currency can be security if it is acting as tokens. Some tokens will be acting as securities. It can be a payment system, which means that it's acting as a payment mechanism. It can be store in value. It can be utility. So there are various. It can be like commodity. So there are various ways in which the commodity or cryptocurrencies act, and often it's very difficult to characterize it. And if you can't put a character, you can't regulate. This is a fundamental issue across the world, right? Unless the tokens are acting as securities, SEBI cannot regulate as a security. Unless they are acting as payment, RBI cannot regulate it as a payment. So often, the biggest questions in last 7 years, which we have come across, right? When we have to interpret law, because there are no specific laws, you have to interpret the existing laws. The biggest issue comes up is how do we characterize this, right? Because once you characterize this as, let's say, I'm just giving an example, as a tokens, as securities, then you know how securities are regulated, and then you can put it up that, hey, this is how securities are regulated. If you characterize it as a commodity, then you know how commodities are regulated, and you can say, hey, this is how it should be regulated, right? So biggest challenge is how do you characterize this cryptocurrency, and it all depends on the type of cryptocurrency, right? Each cryptocurrency is not similar, right? And there are some people have multiple features, so it becomes even more complex. Bitcoin, for example, we looked at it, even though it is used as a payment system, it is not covered under payment system definition under the Payment Systems Act under RBI for various reasons, right? There are no issuer, there is no, it is not, the price is not similar, so you can't redeem it, etc. Right? So it is more like a store in value, it's more like a commodity. So you really look at the way the function of particular cryptocurrency and then decide on how to regulate, right? So that's what you do. Now, I'm spending a lot more time on cryptocurrency compared to blockchain, primarily because all laws, all regulations currently are focused on cryptocurrency. Blockchain per se, there are no issues on regulations, right? The moment a cryptocurrency is used in a blockchain, it gets tricky. And you can't have a blockchain application without cryptocurrency involved in it, right? So the moment, for example, NFT, right? NFT per se is like selling, digital asset, right? Whether it's a painting, whether it is a movie, it depends on how you create an NFT. Sometimes you just take a book and put a particular chapter and sell it as an NFT. Sometimes you just take a photograph and put a digital signature and sell it as an NFT, right? That by itself is purely legal. There is no issue whatsoever. But how do you buy it? How do you create it? That particular thing, when you use tokens to buy it, that makes it, complex. Now, one of the major areas of regulation which comes in any blockchain transactions, I would say, right? Whether it is NFT, whether it is token issuance, whether it is Tether, whether it's a USDT, is any cross-border transaction, right? Because the moment you do cross-border transaction, FEMA comes into picture. Now, FEMA basically says again, FEMA is not dealing with cryptocurrency. It has no specific law on cryptocurrency. The basic discussion on FEMA is that cross-border barter is not permitted without prior RBI approval. Right? Now, if you define cryptocurrency as payment mechanism, then you will go into payment system. And as I was telling you, cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, are not legal tender. Most of them do not fall unless it's a tether, right? Which may fall into the payment mechanism. Non-tether crypto coins generally don't fall into payment mechanism. Again, I'm just telling you, each coin could be different and each coin analysis can be different. So don't take anything what I say as a legal advice, right? You need to look at each of these applications and each of these things on an individual basis, right? But most of the coins, including Bitcoin, should not really be payment systems. Now, if it is not payment system, it will be likely to be a commodity. Now, when you're a commodity, right, and if you are buying or selling commodity cross-border, right, the Reserve Bank of India says if you are exporting commodity, you need to get paid in fiat currency through authorized banking channel. Right? If you are importing commodity, then you're required to pay, through fiat currency through authorized banking channel. That is what the FEMA is, right? The moment you buy a Bitcoin or Ether and pay through a Tether coin, right? You are violating law. As simple as that, right? Reserve Bank of India has not gone after individual guys. They have not gone after, because, difficult for them to know what exactly is happening, and these transactions are not very openly done, but they have gone after exchanges on precisely this reason, to know what exactly is happening and is there any violation, right? So what I'm trying to say is that any cross-border transaction, the moment it comes with any coins and currencies, there is a there is a PEMA risk. And PEMA, in my mind, PEMA and money laundering is the biggest regulatory hurdle or regulatory implications on any of these transactions, because blockchain by nature is cross-border in nature, right? When even though you are purely India transactions, when you are using USDT, right? Can you really use it, right? Is it legally under PEMA? The answer is possibly no. But anyway, I'll leave it to that. I think, Hari, you are trying to say I'm over time, so maybe I will limit it to put it up on a Q&A. As I said, I can talk about days together. I'm not even touched upon metaverse. We have just written a paper on the metaverse and releasing it. So if anybody's interested, happy to share the metaverse paper with you as and when it gets released. We are writing a paper on NFT and we'll be releasing soon. We'll happy to send you paper on NFT. Each one of this topic is a 3-hour topic by itself. But with this, maybe I will stop myself. Maybe I can address some of the points. I mean, I wanted to cover many, I couldn't, but happy to take Q&A and do as a Q&A.
Thanks, Vaibhav. It was very interesting, very insightful. We'll open the floor for questions. Anybody who would like to talk, please, unmute yourself and ask the question to Vaibhav.
Well, Vaibhav, thanks a lot for this excellent, talk. One thing which we are beginning to see is that, the companies are basically raising the funds for investors in a very different instrument. Earlier, it was SAFE, which was simple agreement for future equity. Yeah, now we are beginning to see SAFT, which is tokens.
Yeah.
Now, for Indian resident investors, what is the implication, on this particular instrument of investing, and what are the risks? How do we get our head around this? Thanks.
Yeah, Rajneesh, as I was saying, right, it all depends on what is the nature of tokens, right? Generally, SAFT is supposed to be a security, right? So the token should mimic shares, right? If it mimics a share, then it can become a foreign security, right? But a lot of times, some tokens are, not completely mimicking the security. It has some ability of securities and some not, right? Plus, the government does not really look at tokens as securities, in a sense, from PEMA perspective, because if it treats as a security, under LRS, Indian individuals can remit money and buy foreign securities, right? But it does not. So you really need to look at per token. In my view, right, and this is our view, RBI may not agree to it. Under the current law, there is no restriction in most of the tokens for Indian resident to use LRS money as an individual to send money to outside India and get tokens in return, as long as that money is going through authorized dealers. It is unfortunate that banks, the moment you say I want to buy a cryptocurrency or a tokens, right, the moment you say that, the banks are not going to allow you to remit monies, right? But there is no illegality, and it's in compliance with law for an Indian individual to use LRS money to buy tokens. When it comes to corporates, it's slightly different. Corporates may get into a little bit of an issue when they buy tokens outside. It again depends on what is the business of the company, of the corporate, what is the business of the company which is issuing tokens, and so on and so forth. So I'm sorry, Rajneesh, I'm not able to give you a very clear answer, because there is no clear answer available. But by default, it should be permitted, right? Unless the tokens have things which makes it difficult. But the moment you go to banks, they will not allow you to remit. If you are saying I can buy tokens using USDT, right, by an Indian resident, because that's what a lot of people do, they use another cryptocurrency to buy tokens, that is not permitted. As I said, any cross-border transaction, which is a barter, which means giving USDT or some other Tether coins or Bitcoins and buying tokens, the moment it is cross-border, it is illegal.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Vaibhav. Thanks, appreciate it.
Vaibhav, as per the Nirmala Sitharaman today's statement, in fact, the RBI has recommended prohibition on the cryptocurrencies. So that brings a total dead end.
I know RBI has been talking about prohibition since 2018.
This is, I'm talking about today's FM statement.
I have not, yeah, so FM has actually always tagged around RBI's view. So ministry always has created, but in my mind, it is not going to be easy. I'll tell you a few reasons why it's not going to be easy for them to ban it. One is that I was telling you that all agencies are not in favor of banning, right? Some agencies are neutral. Some agencies, at least Niti Aayog, has been more in favor of not banning because they understand that blockchain will fail if they ban it. RBI always has been very vocal, and to the extent if they go, then they will ban. Second is that if government wanted to ban it, immediately after losing the Supreme Court case, they would have banned it. They had a committee report during even the case while it was going on. They did not ban it, which means that, and even at that point of time, Nirmala had talked about ban. Third is that there is the Supreme Court judgment itself, which basically talked about, did not say that RBI has no locus standi to regulate cryptocurrencies. They in fact made a statement that RBI has a locus standi to regulate cryptocurrencies. They also said that cryptocurrencies have a character of financial, and hence RBI can regulate. So everything is in favor of government to regulate and do it. But they said that banning is a disproportionate action. So there is a risk that if they ban it, can go back to Supreme Court and say, hey, one, it is a disproportionate action and government should not ban it. They should regulate it. So if they were to ban it, they need to really come and justify that it is not a disproportionate action, right? And if they're going to ban, for example, the ban is going to have implication of blockchain industries and blockchain developers suffering, right? Supreme Court is going to say, is it a disproportionate action or not? So at least in my mind, it's going to be difficult for government to ban it. Now, having said it, can government ban it? The answer is yes, government can ban it. If they ban it, what's going to happen? You're going to see a case in Supreme Court. Till Supreme Court decide, it will remain banned, or unless one is able to get interim injunction, which in my mind may not be very likely since we did not get it even during 2018 case. Till then, again, things will go outside India. In fact, most of the people I know who were working from India has moved outside India, because it's just easy for them from regulatory perspective to go to Dubai or some other country, right, to kind of work on it. So things will just move outside India till the ban gets reversed, then it will come back to India.
Okay.
You're not going to see any topping of action, honestly.
But if they pass it as a bill, yes, they can still implement in spite of Supreme Court judgment.
Absolutely. They can, if they pass a law, they can implement it. They have to basically come and show to, and you will, the moment they pass a law, you will see a case in Supreme Court. The moment there's a case in Supreme Court, there'll be a discussion on disproportionate action. And, again, depending on how they show the data and otherwise, we'll see how Supreme Court reacts. But there are good chances that Supreme Court may not uphold the law as, may uphold the law as a, ultra virus to the Constitution.
Okay.
So, Vaibhav, continuing with your thought, and I'm just trying to structure my question and the thought process because I don't understand this much. See, if the cryptocurrencies are backed by, let's say, fiat currency, and it creates in the system a real value which is backed by real assets, right? Then can't there be a bound, like I'm just wondering, because you went and explained to governments earlier or authorities as to what the blockchain is, what the crypto is. Now there is a pro and con of both the sides, right? But I can't visualize that some artificial stuff can create a value which can mislead people and common people to invest in something that is completely superfluous. On the other hand, if crypto is a necessary evil for blockchains to function, and that's how the blockchain functionality is, and it is going to have a very wide use within the enterprises, within the government, within the consumer segments, gaming and whatnot, then what if the crypto is actually backed by a fiat currency and doesn't create an artificial value of its own?
See, as I said, right, it's a different. That's what Reserve Bank of India is trying to come with CBDC, right? And they are saying, hey, this can be the necessary evil, right, which you can use for blockchain, right? I think the question is, are people going to accept it, right? Let me put it this way, right? It's a perception, right? Some people are saying, right? I mean, why somebody is investing in diamond or gold, right? At the end of the diamond is nothing but a stone. It's a carbon atoms, right? Why are people investing in diamonds? Or for that matter, even gold, right? What is the value of diamond and gold other than just putting in your piece of jewelry rather than the display? Yes, it's being used for tools, right? But that's not as expensive. You don't require the diamond the way it is currently done, right? I think it's a question of perception where people have perceived diamond to be very valuable or gold to be very valuable and have given, because of the scarcity, have given lot of value. I think some proponents are talking about Bitcoins and other coins in similar way, saying that, look, Bitcoin is like gold or diamond, right? Where there's a limited nature, limited scarcity, and if people are storing value, they are perceiving this to be an important asset, right? Who are you to say that it does not have any, it's an artificial and it doesn't have a value, right? If you say that, if you make this statement, then same statement can be made for gold and diamond, right? Now, that's an argument which proponent is saying. And there are arguments which Rajiv, people have very successfully made, and I tend to agree with what your arguments are, honestly. And which is why I said that in my mind, what will survive is where there will be real utility, right? For example, you want to do NFT, you want NFT to transact, and if there are tokens which has created that particular transaction, then it will survive, right? What you are talking about, having something which has a real fiat backing, right? I agree with you for purpose of Tether coins, right? The moment you have stable coins, you need, in my view, fiat backing or some asset backing, which basically, gives the stability, long-term stability. Otherwise, it becomes like Luna or some other ones which will go bust at some point of time, right? You really cannot have a stable coin, which has no utility other than payment mechanism, right? To not have fiat currency or other, security. So there I 100% agree with you. The moment you're not talking about non-fiat coins or non-stable coins, it has a different thought process. Again, that's my personal view. When it comes to government is going to say, the moment you have, go and take payment system license if you want to really create tokens or something which has fiat currency, fiat bank backing. Take a payment system license and use it. You can create your own stable coins, your own stable tokens. It's a different story that RBI will not give you an application the moment they hear word of tokens or coins or cryptocurrency or virtual currency, right? But you have a system of payment system under Payment Systems Act mechanism available to create stable coins.
Vaibhav, one very basic question. From whatever you have articulated in terms of law, RBI and other things, no Indian individual, resident of India can actually buy Bitcoin from an exchange which is Indian.
They can buy, right? No, legally they can buy. As long as the seller and buyer both are in India, there is no restriction. What I was saying is a cross-border, it is a problem. So one, you can buy using fiat. They have in-ramp, right? On-ramp. So you pay fiat and you can buy. There is no restriction. You can buy using, other cryptocurrencies, right? As long as it is between two Indian residents.
But how do you know that it's between two Indian buyers? Because in the blockchain, it could be anybody who is offered a sale.
Yeah, but that's where the exchanges come into picture, right?
Okay.
That's where the exchanges basically allow certain people. That's why they need to do KYC and so forth.
But the
And
exchange
most
itself is not
exchanges don't
regulated.
allow. Huh?
The exchange itself is not regulated, isn't it?
Yeah, they unfortunately no. Though exchanges are doing self-regulation to somewhat, what we understand. There is no regulated exchange there. There is no mechanism for regulation for exchange. They've been demanding for regulation for a long time. But government believes that the moment they regulate, they will give credibility to exchanges, and they don't want to give any credibility to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other discussion points? Anything which you wanted me to pick, which I did not pick up?
I think you've covered it pretty well. You've gone a little more into the practical side of it. So I think we will look forward to some of your other seminars, and I will share the invite with all the members.
Yeah,
so whoever is interested can join your seminars. These are the typical NDA seminars, no?
Yeah, it is typical India.
Okay, I'll share the invitations with our group and any other information.
Yeah.
So
even Lakshmi will be able to give you. Hari, she is helping us.
Okay.
And Vaibhav, we will be also interested in the white papers on metaverse and NFT that you're coming up with.
Yeah, the metaverse we will be releasing end of this month, so you should get it soon. NFT may take a little more time.
Sure.
But the moment we release it, it will be there on our website also.
Okay,
great. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Vaibhav, for taking time to address us. It was really very interesting.
We have a paper on cryptocurrency and blockchain, which we have just updated. I think another about 15 days time, you will see updated copy. If you want, happy to circulate it, and which you can circulate to people.
Okay. Thank you. So thanks a lot. Thank you for your time. We may again bug you once more, at the next level in case we want some more interaction.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.